Hi, this is Gary Arnold. I'm the Public Affairs Manager with Access Living. And today we're with Adapt Productions of Can TV on location at Access Living. Today I am joined by the Director of Independent Living for Access Living, Rahnee Patrick. Rahnee, thanks for joining us.
Hi, how are you?
I'm doing well. How are you?
Really good. Thank you for having me.
Happy New Year also.
Thank you.
Today we're going to talk about the new rules, a new rule established by the Department of Labor. It was established 1 or 2 years ago, and it relates to overtime and travel time for individual providers, or what we refer to at Access Living as personal assistants, people who help out people with disabilities in the home and at work with kind of day-to-day things of day-to-day living things. The new rule mandates that personal assistants be paid for overtime hours and for travel time hours. And now that the new rule has been established, states across the country are beginning to implement the rule. And that's how it's affecting Illinois now. Just after Thanksgiving, or just at the end of November, the Department of Human Services mailed out letters to individual providers in Illinois and to consumers in the home services program, laying out the new rule and indicating that everyone had until January 1st, 2016 in order to comply with the new rule. That's when it goes into effect in Illinois. So Rahnee, for our audience here, let's say someone who doesn't know much about home services or anything about this new rule, in the most basic, straightforward terms you can you tell us a little bit about the rule and about like what it means for personal assistants and people with disabilities in home services in Illinois?
So, sure, no problem.
Thank you.
Yeah, so the home services program is funded through the state and the federal government to allow people to get workers to come into their home to help them, like clean their house, just like you said, clean your body, and just be in your own home. And that's great, and that's actually part of the rights that we have as disabled people, to be able to live independently with those supports. With the Department of Labor implementation, they also want to have support and protections for those workers when they're coming in to the home. And so, we need those workers to be able to have our rights and to live in the community. And so the workers, too, would like to have payment and overtime when they do work more than 40 hours in a week. What the issue has become now is that the state of Illinois is just making some decisions that don't allow for the workers to get those protections of overtime in the way that it was intended from the federal government.
Can I stop you there for a second? So just so we're all on the same page here. So from what I hear, from what I understand, also from the way I'm following the issue, in principle, Access Living and a lot of other groups are in support of this rule because, if personal assistants get paid overtime and travel time, it's going to make the job more attractive, and so we're going to strengthen the pool of consumers. And also, it's just kind of a rights issue. We're there promoting disability rights, and this is a way we can support workers and workers' rights.
Yeah.
So in principle, the rule is a good thing.
Totally.
Okay.
I absolutely think so, and I think you're right in terms of those groups that you listed. They totally are in support of that. Given that, when you need help, like I need help in my home, and I have a worker come in. She comes in. I live in right there in Printers Row.
Right.
And I have a worker that comes down from Howard Street. And that's a long ride, and she has to leave her house at 4:30 in the morning to get to my house, and then I'm able to work. So for me to work, I need her to be able to work. And her being able to get those kind of people like her, being able to get these kind of protections, I think makes it, kind of a win-win situation.
Right. So what is the problem then? Because it's creating problems in Illinois, but the rule is a good thing. But why is its implementation creating problems?
Well, it doesn't allow for people to be able, if you have somebody who's working for you more than 40 hours, the state is not going to allow them to be able to work those full 40 hours. And then if you have 35 hours that you get in a week, that you get someone to come in to help you in the home, you have to find somebody right away to work for you, even though you may just have one person who works those full 40 hours for you.
Right.
They're mandating you to have two people in the home.
So two things, then, it sounds like. One is, although we have this new overtime rule, which is a good thing because it's going to strengthen potentially the pool of PAs, Illinois is saying, well, you can't work 40 hours a week, or we're not going to allow it.
Exactly.
So there goes, it's out the door anyway, where no one's going to earn overtime.
Right.
And then the second thing is, it sounds like if you're an individual who has a personal assistant who works more than 35 hours a week for you, you're going to have to go out and find a new PA,
right.
a new personal assistant.
Right.
And you're going to have to do it, obviously, in a short period of time if you didn't know about this until the end of November, and it goes into effect January 1st.
Right.
So is that correct?
Yeah,
Okay.
you totally do. So, and actually, for many of you that hire personal assistants yourselves, you know that this holiday period, like for Hanukkah, Christmas, New Year's, this is a really terrible time to hire a new person,
Yeah.
and also to bring them into your home and introduce them to your home life, because your life is all about the holidays. So it was not really well planned out in terms of implementation. The state of Illinois knew about this for a long time, for 2 years, and Access Living was working with them, and Chicago Adapt was working with them, and now all of a sudden it's this surprise, here's what we're going to do, and you got to follow it this way.
Okay.
So it wasn't very thoughtful in terms of including everybody,
Right.
in terms of implementation.
Okay. Is there any sense of how many people this is going to impact? I know in the home services program there's about 30,000 people with disabilities. I'm not sure how many personal assistants work for the program, but is there any sense of how many people this might impact in terms of the new guidelines regarding the new rules?
And on a federal level?
No, Illinois level.
Oh, in Illinois?
I'm talking about.
Well,
Yeah.
for sure, the number that you identified. And so I think, again, going back to us being able to live in the community, it's a team thing.
Right.
It's the worker and the person with a disability getting the services on an equal plane. So I know that SEIU, who is the collective bargainer with the state for the personal assistants, they are working on collecting information about the number of personal assistants who this impacts.
Okay.
So that the total number is not being revealed.
Okay.
Also, I feel like the state is not really giving a lot of support to the workers. So the workers are not even going to be trained on these new rules of implementation. And then there's a lot of questions, too,
Yeah.
about, how do you actually do this? So a work week will begin on Sunday at midnight, and then that Saturday at 11:59 p.m., that's when that work week ends. But the pay period for the state to pay for your personal assistance, those pay periods are from the 1st through the 15th, and then the 16th through the 31st or 28th, or, depending upon leap year and things
Right.
like that. So it's not clear about if that work week, if you apply that limited work week Sunday to Saturday,
Right.
they don't always land perfectly between
Within the pay periods.
Right.
Uh-huh.
So how overtime is going to apply is not clear, and the state has communicated to independent living centers that they can't do anything about changing the pay period.
Okay.
So that's going to be very confusing, I think, to
Okay.
to both the workers and to the to the PAs as well as the consumers.
Right. So you mentioned that you had have a personal assistant who works with you. She comes down from up near the border of Evanston and Chicago. Is this going to impact you in any way, do you think, this new implementation?
Well, not me particularly, not until I, get more disabled where I will need more people to help me. I'll need more support. I have 2 personal assistants right now. I mean, which is a good plan because you want to have people that
Right.
can rest and not always work with you all the time.
Uh-huh.
But my spouse, he uses personal assistants as well, and it definitely will affect him. And he already has spoken to a personal assistant that she used to work for me, but now she works for him.
Mm-hmm.
And she has 3 different clients or consumers. So she has one who's actually in hospice kind of level, so he's dying of cancer. Somebody else who just needs once in a while. He's a lawyer who's has a quad, and then my husband who has his disability. So she works for these gentlemen, and now she has to decide based upon these rules which of these people with whom she wants to work, they accept her performance, and now the state wants to break that down, that relationship. So that'll affect me because that adds stress to our family life. And also, it just is not very respectful of the rights that we have as people with disabilities, to be able to choose people that we want to work with to do this kind of work.
Yeah.
And also to get them to, be a part of our life. I mean, a person's happier when they're able to be recognized for the work that they do, and it really does help because there's a lot of stigma around disability.
Yeah,
so
absolutely.
helping us is not like, people kind of feel like, oh, it's not a glamorous job, you're washing somebody's body, that's weird, oh, they're disabled, what are they doing for the world?
Right.
All of those are really bad myths, obviously.
Right.
But so we have those are barriers to attracting, highly qualified, well-skilled people to our work. And now you want to add on all these complicated rules so that you
Right.
prevent overtime payment. It doesn't make it easier for us at all in terms of recognizing our equality and our rights as people with disabilities.
Right. Yeah. Another instance. Since the announcement was made in November, I've heard stories from a number of people who they're what I call live-in PA. So it's like a mother or a father of one of their children with a disability, and they are their hired personal assistant, and they live in with them, and they work oftentimes many more than 40 hours a week, and oftentimes in the situations I'm familiar with, they're the only personal assistant.
Yep.
Also. So
Yep.
you've got one PA living in the same house with somebody working 60 or 70 hours a week. What in a situation like that, let's say, what are they going to have to do come January 1st?
They well, according to the implementation, they will have to find somebody, or actually probably two more people, because there's a certain number of for each level. So at 35 hours, you have to have 35 plus, you have to have 2 PAs. So they want you to add a certain number of PAs per the level that you're at. So at that, like 60 or 70 hours, they're probably going to have like 2 or 3 PAs that they need to add on, hire them, train them, and bring them into their own home and start to involve them in this. This will impact too the family, because obviously that's income for the family too, so that payment will be limited when they can't access the overtime that they could get, because of the implementation factor.
Okay. So 3 more questions. The first is, what's being done? What are disability groups that are kind of organizing with the community? What are they doing in reaction to this?
Definitely, we're doing a big media campaign about getting the word out for people. We're also wanting to document whether or not this is happening to you. So if you're one of those awesome personal assistants out there and you know that you are working more than 40 hours a week, then please contact SCIU to let them know that this is happening to you. If you get PA services like me, somebody comes in and helps you take care of your home and your body, contact Access Living. Let us know. You want? Actually, I think they can. Can they reach out to you?
They can reach out to
Jerry?
me.
Yeah.
I'll take your story, and then I'll
Yeah.
try to pitch that to other media, depending on what your market is.
Yeah.
Because like as you said, we're trying to get the word out to put the pressure on Illinois to kind of listen to what our concerns are and see what the problems are going to be.
Yeah.
So do you think this is a budget issue?
No, even though I think I know it's for sure it's being framed as such.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. You answered two of my questions there, and one
Remind me.
No, what is the disability community doing? And another question I was going to ask was, what can I, like, if I'm a personal assistant, I'm a consumer,
Yeah.
I've got questions, what can I do? You said, all right, so you can reach out to SEIU.
Yes.
What else can you do?
Well, I would also say to work together with your customer, with your consumer, and communicate with them about what's going on, because this is about both of us together in terms of us getting rights as workers and as people with disabilities. So, I think, often when pressure is put on people, that is really where a lot of hope and strength and opportunity comes. So I would really encourage that kind of collaboration, even more than you already do as PAs and consumers. But I also wanted to add too that Access Living, we do train personal assistants here. And we have a registry of personal assistants that are available for you to interview, for you to consider, for them to come into your home and help you with, your daily living, your right to, as an American, to live in your own home.
Okay, great. And from what I understand, Illinois is not the first state to implement the rule. Are there any? Do you know if it's happened in other states? Are there any states that did it right? And what could Illinois be doing, to do this implementation better?
I know for sure California has been one of the best, and they really work together. So there is still a limit to the amount of hours that a PA can make, but that's at 60. So it doesn't prevent people from earning overtime. You still can get overtime, and it allows for you to have some rest and come back to your work. So California actually did really well, and it was a community effort. It was disabled people who get the services working with the state and with the unions. I know not everybody was pleased, and that is a factor in terms of negotiations.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Well, that's great. Is there anything that you think we didn't cover that you want to add?
Well, no, I think we covered everything really well. I just do want to say that we're trying to get people to live in the community. We don't want people to live in institutions where all they have is a bed and maybe a drawer and no call over who comes into their home. That is what we're trying to prevent in the work and here at Access Living and with CAN TV, and Adapt Production. So this is something we're trying to work against, and we just need to strengthen and sustain the workers so that people with disabilities can continue to live in the community as we please.
And in a way, that's right. We didn't cover that. This is a threat to that. I mean, because potentially someone could lose their personal assistant, they could lose the support they need in their home, wind up in the hospital, then back in a nursing home. And then also, this could weaken the personal assistant pool. People couldn't, whether they have the hours or not, maybe people won't be able to find a qualified PA because the work's not going to be as attractive, and then again end up in an institution. So that's a great point. Thanks for bringing that up. This is all a part of the effort to keep community strong and keep people living independently. All right. Well, I really want to thank Rahnee Patrick, Director of Independent Living here at Access Living. Thank you, Access Living, for the location shoot today, and thanks you to Adapt Productions for giving time to this issue, and thank you for joining us today. This has been Adapt Productions. And we hope you have a great day. Thank you.
Hi, this is Will Cowing for Adapt to Chicago Productions. We've got a new year coming, 2016. It's an election year. A lot of things are going to be going on. So I want to have a little conversation with Joel. And he usually does the interviewing. And so now we're going to interview each other and get up some of the issues and what's going on for the future. Now, first thing, Joel, you were not originally a disabled person, were you?
No, originally I was not. I did have problems with my eyesight for quite a few years in that I was never at 20/20 from my 30s onward. I had corneal transplant in both eyes, but for many years I was able to function having vision of 20/40 or thereabouts, and in fact not only worked but drove a car up until, let's say, 8 or 9 years ago.
So now, how did you come to grips with being a person with disabilities? When did it first occur to you that this is the category that suits you best?
I think it was sometime after a critical visit to my retina specialist, in which we not only had the usual examination that I have with him, but he pulled away from the slit lamp and he said to me, slowly but definitely, "You've reached the point where you have a very strong case to be made for disability, and Social Security does take time in processing cases. It's your decision, but you might want to consider applying for disability now." That particular interaction with him had a major impact on me, because suddenly it was no longer a question of having some difficulties with my eyesight. There was suddenly a shift in my mind, okay? In that it seemed to me that someone who was an ophthalmological professional was saying to me, "You've crossed a line."
That's very interesting. Now, are you comfortable now in where you are and what you do?
I would say that I'm far more comfortable than I was 4 or 5 years ago, when I was new to a world of seriously limited eyesight, not just mildly limited, and also was not only dealing with the objective reality, but dealing with a very new psychological reality, okay? In that I found myself moving into assisted living, interacting a great deal with other disabled people and the like. And that almost catapulted me into a socially different world.
Okay, now this is let me look at this. How many of these people now do you think could find some type of employment if it was available? And what type of employment could be available for these people now that have considered themselves out of the working world for, years and years? Could they be reintroduced to it on a part-time basis?
Some of them definitely. One of the things that strikes me about the world of the disabled is that I've met a very sizable number of people who have real skills to offer and are simply unable to find work. Let me hasten to add, that's not true of every disabled person. I've also met people who have either been out of the world of work so long or have never been in it, such that they simply, how can I put it, I think they've largely lost touch with what it is to be a working person. But I've met others who very much want to work and cannot find anything, which has led me to speculate on an interesting possibility, and one which I don't have time and resource to implement, which is I would love to see small groups of disabled individuals forming businesses of their own, using complementary skills. For instance, someone such as myself with a background in housing, real estate management, real estate development, but now with limited eyesight, could certainly interact with people who may be wheelchair-based, but who have excellent eyesight and hearing, to form a small firm that did do real estate management and development. Maybe I can no longer inspect a property physically, but I can certainly have interactions dealing with real estate finance, real estate development, site selection, and the like. And in line with that, I've wondered why it is that we don't have disability rights groups such as Access Living or other organizations, setting up nodal points where those who are interested in forming businesses of their own could meet others. And in addition, since federal, state, and local government have typically had set-asides for minority and women-owned firms, why couldn't there be set-asides for disability-owned firms that
Good.
would facilitate the
Point.
growth of businesses by disabled people?
Great idea.
But I've never heard of any such set aside by either federal, state, or local government. And I'm wondering how it could be implemented.
Now, I want to ask you one question. You said nodal points. Now, what do you mean by that?
It's a very difficult thing for any individual, simply because he or she is disabled, to go through the ranks of dozens or even hundreds of people to find someone who is not only disabled, but whose disability has a complementarity rather than a similarity to your disability, and whose skills or background have a complementarity. In other words, I need to find people who not only have excellent eyesight and have a disability in some other sensory dimension, but who also have some background or at least an education relevant to real estate development, real estate management, real estate finance, and the like. What I'm looking for in a nodal point is some organization where someone such as myself could sign up, submit something like a detailed resume or statement of background and purpose that could then be reviewed by others also looking to form a business firm of disabled people, rather than my doing something such as using the internet and having to go through hundreds of individuals on Craigslist before I find someone who's even a semi-candidate.
You'd almost have to have a specialized computer program that would...
Or if
like
not a
like
special...
matchmakers, something
Yeah,
like that.
something of that sort, which is why I think that organizations that speak for or advocate on behalf of the disabled could form a real service by setting up as part of their organization or in conjunction with it something that might be called the Business Embryo Center, where people such as myself who are interested in at least trying to form a business firm of disabled people could meet others of similar interest.
Very interesting. This has been a very interesting conversation. We really appreciate you being on, and